The Immortals of Meluha. The Immortals of Meluha is written by Mr.Amish Tripathi. It is a reimagination by the author, blending history into Indian mythology with its base set in the concept that karma or deeds make humans capable to rise to the level of heroes who the society in hindsight names as God. This book is the first installment in a three-part series which is called the Shiva Trilogy. Two other books are to follow, The Secret of the Nagas and The Oath of the Vayuputras. Disclaimer: the opinions expressed here are my personal opinions about the book and are neither made to hurt any religious sentiments nor intended to pass comments on the revered god Shiva. Hope it is taken as my experience of reading the book only and nothing else. Concept: a tribal head fighting for survival of his tribe in his homeland Tibet is invited to migrate to a place in India called Meluha. There is a hidden agenda behind the cordial invite which the head is unaware about. Once he reaches Meluha, how he comes to terms with the expectations of people there who consider him their savior and how he uplifts himself to the role of the savior forms a basic premise of Immortals of Meluha. The plot. The plot is set in ancient India. The story starts from a protagonist Shiva mulling over whether to accept the invite received from Nandi, a Meluhan, to migrate along with his tribe to Meluha. According to Nandi, in Meluha, the living conditions would be better than their homeland where they have to fight even for their survival. Subsequently, Shiva decides to migrate. On seeing Meluha, he is happy to have made such a decision. The organized and peaceful way of living seen in Meluha attracts Shiva. What he is unaware is that there is a hidden agenda behind the invite. Later, during his stay in Meluha, he realizes that whole of residents of Meluha, the Suryavanshis, are waiting for a hero called Nilkant to rescue them from their arch enemies, Chandravanshis, who stay in a place called Swadweep. During the course of the story, the reason for the eternal youth of Suryavanshis is revealed. Shiva meets Sati, with whom he feels an instant connection, but is forced to hold back his feelings by certain principles and rules laid down in the Suryavanshi dynasty. The story moves forward with Shiva ultimately accepting the responsibilities of being a Nilkant and understanding how his decisions are not of an individual alone and how it would have repercussions affecting the whole society. In due course, he forms various relationships with the residents and he himself becomes an integral part of Meluha. After some happenings which lead to a war sequence between Suryavanshis and Chandravanshis, which is referred to as Dharma Yudh, the ultimate revelation happens which leads to the conclusive part of Book 1 of Shiva Trilogy. I have kept the plot as vague as possible so as not to spoil the reading experience for anyone who has not read the book and wishes to read it later. Now, coming to my experience of reading the book. I would like to share my experience, both the good and bad aspects which I felt while reading, so that you can decide whether to invest your time and energy in reading this book. The concept of combining mythology with history is really an interesting concept. The usual way of heavenly incarnation of God has been left behind by the author, and the concept of deeds, that is karma, over birth is given due importance throughout the book. Here the protagonist is as human as possible and has to reach the level of hero with the help of right decisions and right deeds. His decisions are like any other human being, and those decisions are the reasons which change the course of his life, even mistakes, and later learning from them. The author has chosen a great concept. Sometimes while reading, we feel intrigued with the concept of karma over birth and wonder whether these can be introduced into our present society, but the ideas are quite impractical. The cities involved, that is Meluha, Swadweep, are described in a meticulous manner, whereby the picture presents itself while reading. Each and every structure is elaborately explained. The beauty of the cities and their contrast with each other is clearly underlined. Both the civilizations and their sharp contrast is as evident as night and day. It is made obvious by the author. The point that right and wrong are just perspectives and not opposites is a nice point highlighted by the author. It is an eye-opener for us along with the protagonist. There is an advice given to Shiva to keep moving ahead in spite of being guilt-ridden. The path towards greatness is not easy, just like how in a famous movie it is said that with a great power comes great responsibility. The book, although fast paced in most parts, sometimes lags behind. Some words are used to identify certain characters but are repeated whenever the characters appear in the timeline and hence become exasperating. The language used in the book is mostly modern, and sometimes it becomes unbelievable that the time in which the story is set is ancient and it doesn't feel suitable to those times. The character building is not done well because we are unable to make opinions about the characters by ourselves, as the incidents which reveal their true nature are very scarce. Instead, we see other characters commenting about the nature of others, which we are supposed to take at face value. The love story of Shiva and Sati, though an integral part of the original Shiv Puran, is not given enough time to develop and we don't feel much of their connection. It is just left as a tiny subplot with rushed marriage, which doesn't feel real. The roadblocks in their journey get removed even without a struggle, which in itself is unsatisfying as a reader. Conclusion. The author manages to keep us hooked and curious till the end and leaves us at a cliffhanger of sorts. Overall, a good reading experience, although intermixed with slightly slower portions. So, that is all for now. Please hit the like button to support us, and if you like the content, please consider subscribing. Happy reading by the Nerdy Bookworm.